Okay, guys, today we're going to read King Hugo's Huge Ego.
Okay.
I need my glasses. Can you check on? They're right behind you on that table. Right there. Thank you. King Hugo's Huge Ego.
Huge ego. Okay.
Here we go. By Chris Anderson. Long ago, when people spoke with words like thou and thee, there lived a king named Hugo who was only 3'3". And though this mini monarch stood no higher than an elf, his ego was enormous. He thought very highly of himself. He's on his high horse, right? Okay. Yes, Hugo was a cocky king, as boastful as could be. To him, no other person was as wonderful as he. He made the subjects bow to him whenever he was nigh. It pleased him to look down on them each time that he went by. So see how he made them bow? Because he thought he was better than them, right? Okay, I'm gonna put it right here. And every Friday morning at precisely 10:30, his guards called all the people to the tower base, and then
What?
King Hugo cleared his throat and gave his captive congregation a lengthy talk he liked to call the speech of adoration. For hours, the poor villagers endured the boring buzz, girls. They endured the boring buzz of how mighty and magnificent King Hugo thought he was. So he is up here in the tower, and all he's doing is telling them how great he is. One day, King Hugo climbed aboard his coach of gleaming gold to watch the peasants bow to him as he rolled down the road. But when he turned a corner by a field of amber hay, a maiden with a heavy load was blocking his way. The heralds blew their trumpets, then called out to the last, "Step aside, bow your head, allow the king to pass." The girl, whose name was Tessa, said bluntly, "Go around." She didn't want to drop her load and bow down on the ground.
She did.
The king began to rant and rave and spout and spit and sputter. "Roll on," he barked. Then they bumped poor Tessa into the gutter.
What is a gutter?
So the gutter is what runs along the street, and it's got the dirty water in it that goes out to the drain. And so they pushed her right in the gutter. And he didn't even care. He didn't care that he hurt her. She landed in a rivulet. Stop. Oh, what a muddy mess. But little did King Hugo know she was a sorceress. The kind with special powers like a wizard or a witch. So she cast a spell upon the king while mirrored in the ditch. "A pox on you, old cocky king, in robes of ruby red. Let's see if all your arrogance can fit inside your head." The next day, when the king awoke, he climbed down from his bed and gazed into his looking glass admiringly and said, "I do believe, dear Hugo, you're more handsome than last night." But when he put on his crown, it felt a little tight. Then he donned his crimson robe, the one with ermine fringe. "How grand I am," the king exclaimed. Then he felt a little twinge. His crown seemed even tighter now, yet Hugo didn't care. He hollered from his window to the people of the square. "Say, who's the most majestic king? 'Tis I, you must admit." But when he pulled his head back in, it almost didn't fit. So every time he tells himself that he's the best and the greatest, his head's getting a little bigger. Every time he claimed to be the greatest in the land, the king perceived a tingle and felt his head expand. See how it's getting bigger?
Yeah.
But he continued bragging in his overstated way, and so his head kept kept bloating, bulging bigger every day. See, here the crown kind of fits, but the crown looks smaller because his head's getting bigger. Wow. By Friday, Hugo's head was so huge. But still he didn't know that his self-directed compliments had caused his head to grow. His speech of adoration was scheduled as before. But when he reached the tower, he couldn't fit through the door. He marched across the courtyard to climb the open stair, then called the people to the wall and gave his speech from there. Hold your jacket still. Thank you. Behold my lowly subjects, and do not doubt thine eyes. For yeah, my noble noggin has increased tenfold in size. I know not how this happened, but now there's even more of your absolutely fabulous King Hugo to adore. Uh-oh. The more he talked, the more his head grew, till suddenly a squall hit the king's gigantic head and pitched him off the wall. Because a strong wind came, and his head was so big, threw him off the wall.
That's scary.
Well, scary, okay. Yeah. He floated freely through the air, then landed with a thud. He bobbed and dipped and flipped and skipped and toppled through the mud. He tumbled topsy-turvy as he bounced along the lane. And ended up by Tessa, who was busy stacking grain. King Hugo's head was spinning. He felt dizzy, dazed, and beat. But when he noticed Tessa, he yelled, "Get me to my feet!" Tessa wandered over. Unbelievable, she sighed. Did you ever stop and wonder why your head is 10 feet wide? It's your ego. It's annoying. So I cast a little spell, and every pompous thing you said has caused your head to swell. That's ludicrous, ridiculous, preposterous, insane. I'm humbler than anyone. The king snapped in disdain.
What's that?
I'll prove it to you, she replied. You've been this way for years. Just listen, ordered Tessa. She grabbed and tweaked his ears. Suddenly, a blast of air exploded from his head, along with all the haughty things King Hugo had ever said. I rule, glorious, look at me, magnificent, mine, mine, mine. I'm so magnificent, praise me, bow down.
Praise me, bow down.
King Hugo's head deflated like a giant pink balloon. And when he heard what she had said, he felt like a buffoon. Sheepishly, he said to her, I do apologize. Then he looked at Tessa with his big, sad puppy dog eyes. The glances met instantly, and she felt her heart go zing. Could it be deep down inside? She kind of liked the king. The king got up and took her hand and bent down on his knee. He gazed at her with tenderness, then spoke most humbly. Your spell, it has opened up my eyes. I've been unkind and rude. Please stay with me and teach me how to change my attitude. Would you stay with him and help him after he was so mean to everybody in the world?
No.
Some of you would, some of you wouldn't. Raise your hand if you would stay with him and help him learn to be a better person. Who would not? Okay, yeah, that's a hard choice. What happened next was kismet, yet truly unforeseen. He became a better man, and she became a queen. They ruled the kingdom kindly in a fair and friendly way, and everyone lived happily forever and a day. The end.
Can we see the video?
I for this one?
I think there is.
You think there is?
No.
This, can I show you my favorite picture?
Yeah.
Wait, this one.
Mine too. My favorite picture is when he like exploded and when all the bad things came out of his ears.